Alright, seems like we've lost the stream. I'm just wondering if you can hear and see me again. Let me know on chat. On Chess24 and as well on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So can you hear and see me again? Prom Night says still can't see the video. Alright. That's in Chess24. Sirius Lama says I can't see. I'll try to refresh the page and actually start the video again. Because at least on my end, for now, it says that everything's fine. Dutch Defender says refresh didn't work for me. Can you go directly to YouTube then? And look there. Because as far as I know, if I restart the stream, then it takes time for Chess24 viewer to catch the right stream because it changes the, you know, not the event, but probably it also just changing the event. So just go to YouTube directly for some time. So on Facebook, people say it's fine. All right, just a second. So I'm just taking time to direct guys that watch this on Chess24. I have no idea why it was interrupted, by the way. So everything looked just fine. Have no idea. So basically, the thing is, I believe that it should actually catch the right stream in some time, like 5 to 10 minutes, to, I mean, work again on Chess24. So, yeah, if you have time, you can also write to Ollie or something. I mean, Oliver Kuller. But I think, yeah, the last time it happened, it just came back to Chess24 in like several minutes. Nothing on YouTube either. That's very bad. All right, I will just drop a message to Oliver, just a second. And yeah, maybe that will help. So on YouTube, people can actually watch that. Yeah, that's good on Facebook as well, as far as I understand. So let me just write a message to Oliver. He'll probably direct it a bit faster. Okay. So Prom Night says that it doesn't work anywhere. That's not accurate because it does work on YouTube, for example. And Zurian actually shared the link. Probably it's correct one. Yeah. And I also dropped a message to Oliver, so probably he will help in several minutes. And yeah, just from the experience, it should come back to Chess24 at some point. So Prom Knight says, but people can't challenge him on YouTube. Obviously, no. So you need like a YouTube for watching it and Chess24 for playing. So like 2 tabs or 2 browsers or something like this. For some time, again, most likely it will come back to Chess24. All right, for now, I'm just going to come back to accepting challenges. I hope it's still working. That should work. Yeah, just getting back to analysis, quick analysis of this position. Basically, I think Black's problem started here after e6 move. So e6 was wrong decision, making the bishop very passive. So it's like French, but with lots of weaknesses already committed on the king side, which is not correct. And it amplifies my attack with the h5. So I believe instead of playing that, h5 deserves serious attention. And your strategy should be just to try to develop that bishop, maybe exchange it for the knight or something. So to put it on g4 or f5, maybe bring the knight to h6. So something like that. Because if you play e6, you just make your bishop very, very bad. Okay. Here we go. Let us continue. Let us continue and let's see if we have somebody else I've never ever played before. Yeah, here is one guy from South Africa. It says no games so far. 3 minutes though, but alright. Let's try it. So I'm playing with white pieces in this game. Okay, so Ollie is here. Thanks a lot for your help. I have no idea what happened, so it looked absolutely okay. And then disappeared at some point. Just for no reason, I guess. Okay, so we have a Sicilian with the knight on c6 and bishop b5, which in many cases leads to positions more typical for Ruy Lopez, if we talk about the pawn structure. But after e5, I usually play this gambit d4. So cd4, I'm, yeah, just giving up a pawn for this initiative. So bishop quickly gets to this f4 square, and then in many cases to d6, which is a very good square for it. And then this d4 is being regained easily. And knight to f6, well, I'm not sure that it's a good square for the knight at all. Because now we can do something like bishop to d6, preventing castling, even. And if knight takes c4, then we play something like rook to e1, attacking the knight, pinning it, and starting a direct attack against the king, which is stuck here in the e file. Queen goes to b6. Okay, I can protect the bishop with the a4. I can also play knight to a3. I think this move is slightly more interesting because I combine protecting the bishop with the idea of bring the knight to c4 at some point. Here's a question: are you playing followers? I'm playing premium Chess24 users who challenge me on Chess24. That's the idea behind the show. Alright, bishop f8, intending most likely to exchange my bishop. So how should I react to that? I think I have to take, at least to prevent castling. Otherwise black is castling without problems. And I can do various things, so I can play e5 if I want. I think e5 deserves serious attention. Just a tempo move. And we fight for a dark squares at the same time. They are quite weak in black's camp now. Especially after dark square bishops were exchanged. Pretty obvious weakness. And now I'm bringing my queen to control dark squares better. Also, I wanted to play queen to h6, which is no longer possible, but it's probably not a big deal. Let's attack the knight on c4, on d5, sorry, with the help of bishop c4. it's an indirect attack against f7 as well. So when the knight goes away, I can think of playing queen f4, attacking f7, attacking f6. Ideas like knight g5 become absolutely realistic. Okay, another knight goes to e7. Now d4 drops, so if I want, I can take it. But before doing anything with the d4, I want to actually do something with the d6 square and that queen. So that is why I played bishop to b3. So the idea was just to play knight to c4. So I expected that black would play, yeah, something like that. So that was a prophylaxis against d6. Knight to f5. Okay, now we just attack it with the rook, grab the pawn, and we're a pawn up now. Correct? Correct. Let's just centralize our pieces. Let's just centralize our pieces and, well, I'm not sure. Knight b6 looks good to me. Good enough, I would say. Something like this, bring the knight to c5 maybe. Supporting the movement of the pawn. Yeah, let's go f4 now. Yes, it's not the best technique I could have demonstrated, yeah, because of this, for example. And now the things are not clear anymore. Like, absolutely. But we still have a bit more time, so I guess should be a much better position no matter what happens here. So black has chosen a wrong maneuver, I believe. But I played like a complete patzer, so now black is having chances again. Yeah. So never, ever convert your advantage like I do in this game. So it's just a complete patzerism, alright? But I'm still a bit nervous about, you know, losing the connection, and I'm still not sure if I'm online. Yes, I'm still online. Yeah, you know, whenever you lose a connection like this at the very beginning, you lose your confidence, and yeah, everything works like shit after that. So let's have a look. I guess somewhere around this moment I had very good position. So basically my sacrifice worked perfectly, but just because black played a wrong move, I think knight to f6 is not correct. The right development is to e7. It's much more flexible, but even there white has sufficient compensation after just bringing the bishop to d6 and then having more space, blockading the d7 pawn and actually preventing the development of that bishop. Okay. The thing is, after knight f6, bishop d6, you can't really do anything with my bishop without making your position even worse. So knight takes c4, let's say I just play rook e1. Pinning your knight, and you're forced to play something like f5. And then I can play very simple move, knight to d2. And I don't know how to survive it with black, because my plan is simple. I'm going to take on e4, then rook takes e4, and yeah, I'm fine. Alright. And black is not, because black will be just under fire. Alright. And look at this, I have sacrificed only 2 pawns, not a piece, nothing, to get this amazing attacking position, which completely justifies my play. So knight to e7 is a good idea, just quickly casting, avoiding all these troubles, but yeah, in this case, that's a problem. Maybe my reaction with knight to a3 was not correct. By the way, bishop f8 was a good try. But still, Positionally, I guess white is better because black has problems with dark squares with the king. I can always regain this missing pawn. And yeah, should be just good enough for white now. Just look at dark squares in general. That bishop is having serious problems with the development. Maybe deserved some attention to play immediate d6 at some point before I moved my bishop away somewhere and was able to play knight c4 attacking the queen and the pawn. And yeah. But anyway, I think white is better here. All right. So let's have a look. What's going on? Knight to b5 instead of bishop to b3. Let's have a look at that moment. So bishop to c4 was played. Knight to b5. Yeah, knight to b5 was also good. Just to bring the knight to d6 immediately, right? Yeah, good comment from Twitch. Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to bring it through c4 to d6. Maybe from a practical point of view, it was even a better decision because I made it possible for black to actually blunder with a d6 and then knight to c4, won a pawn. But yeah, I have no idea. You're right, knight b5 was also good. Let us continue. One more challenge from somebody I've never played before. Here is one from Argentina. 3-minute again. Will be quite challenging. Let us continue. And white pieces again. This time French defense. d5, knight to c3. Knight takes c4. Okay. And here comes this Fort Knox variation as far as I remember. Is it the right name? I'm not sure. Okay, let's play queen e2. Knight of 6. I think it's possible to play something like this, although it's completely experimental, especially with the queen on e2. But at least it goes away from a well-known theory and enables things like this, for example. So it's not a completely stupid move. The idea is actually to relocate the knight to e5. And maybe grab the dark squared bishop. In this particular case, I'm not sure. Okay, let's try this move. Okay, bishop went away. Now I guess we're just castling long. Now what do you think about h4? Should be possible to play it, right? I'm not even calculating anything. Probably it's a bad idea to do things like that, but it feels like black just cannot take that bishop. And b5 just brings my knight to e5. I anyway wanted to go there. Now that's a good question. To take with the knight attacking the bishop or to take with the pawn. I think taking with the pawn is very good looking move. Because there is a threat of taking the knight, bishop to h7 followed by rook takes d8 or something. Okay, I'm just going to take it with my queen. And now, it feels like it should be just over after, say... Now, what about simple queen e4 move now? Does black have a defense? Bishop g5 check, looks like the only one. hg5, queen g5, king somewhere, and then some like g6. Shouldn't be good for black anyway. Maybe bishop takes h6, or just bishop takes e7 first, then queen e4, f5, e takes f6, knight takes f6. Also bad pawn structure for black. Simple, taking on e7, taking on b5 should be good. Bishop takes h6 should be good as well. I mean, there are different ways. In such a position, you usually don't want to sacrifice anything, I guess. Yeah, it was probably cheesy. Because bishop takes b5 was the strongest continuation. Alright, what's going on here? Let's play h5 to continue with the attack. I expected something like f5 after queen e4, because this loses just on the spot. Alright, so it was probably just a blunder. Black calculated the number of attacking and defending pieces on g6 incorrectly. And yeah, I guess the right reaction to this knight e2 move is something like knight to d5. Intended knight to f4 and knight to b4 at the same time, for example. Or maybe you should just continue the normal way, bishop b7, not bishop d6, castling at the right moment, just bishop f3 and then c6, just like in many cases in Fort Knox variation. Giving white pair of bishops, but getting rid of a bad French bishop, so to say. I don't know. Okay. Anyways. Now taking challenges one by one. So the first one was Blunder Panda. I'll accept that challenge. e4, e5. Knight f3, knight to c6. So, playing with black pieces, and now we have Italian. And the question is it this? Yeah, it is this slow Italian. Okay. Let's just play this move. So h6 is very simple to understand. I don't want white to play bishop g5. And now I feel like playing d5. Again, a bit experimental, but Blitz is for experimenting, so why not? The idea behind this is just not only to change the situation in the center and grab some space because of this exchange, but also I was triggered by white's b4 move. Now, as you can see, my knight is attacking c3. So not only d3 is my target, but there's c3 as well. Let's put the bishop on a6. As you can see, it doesn't do harm to my development at all. I'm just one move away from castling, so again, opening the position in the center was not that risky to me. So those are the ideas behind this d5 decision. Okay, now let's just castle because I think it's time. So people say that I played too many games against Blunder Panda. Well, I'm actually playing Blunder Panda in each and every show just because Blunder Panda comes and challenges. I'm on the first wave, alright? And then inevitably I just pick his game, pick his challenge, and Panda gets his game. Just because he's one of the first challenges, always. So, there is no luck if you know how I accept challenges, right? Okay, bishop takes h6, nice try. But what if I play b5 now, which is typical? I didn't calculate it well, which is a shame, but I guess now it should give me something. Maybe it worked also in the previous move, but in my opinion it was too risky with the king on the 8. But now it should definitely work. So look, ab5, bishop takes b5. Knight is no longer hanging, it can jump anywhere, so most likely will jump to f4 or something. Attacking the queen, or maybe knight takes b4, attacking the queen on b3. And then at some point I'll grab that bishop on h6. Maybe something like knight to e7 will also do. Just protecting the knight on c6. And yeah, attacking the queen and intending to take that bishop. Why didn't I take it immediately? Because of bishop d5, queen d5, knight f6 with the fork, then taking on d5. Bishop f2 unfortunately doesn't work because of king f2 and the rook on a1 is protected. So as I said, either knight to e7 and then taking on h6, or knight takes b4 with some complications. Not sure. Let's just play this move. Maybe I'm blundering something serious, but for now it looks pretty good. So, intending just to take the bishop next move. Will be risky still, because white will have some attack for sure. But I guess it's manageable stuff. I'm not sure though, completely, but feels like I should have enough resources to defend my king there. Okay, queen c2. Let's take the bishop. So now I have extra minor piece for what? For 2 pawns, right? So I have 4 pawns on the board. White has 6. Yeah, white should indeed have some compensation. Now, good question. Where to put my king? First to g7 and after knight h5, just back to h8. Yeah, I guess that is the right way to play it. And now if queen d2 or queen c1 attacking h6, I just play knight to g8 protecting my h6. Oh, that's bullshit actually, because my knight on c6 was hanging. Why on earth then white didn't play queen d2? My god, I completely missed that. There was bishop to e3 followed by rook a1, but anyway, it was so dangerous, I guess. God damn it, I have to be much more careful now. Probably my main mistake that I completely underestimated white's attack here because of my knight hanging. Oh, this might be very dangerous. Maybe it's already losing or lost. You know, bishop f5 comes to mind. Just a tempo move clearing the 6th rank to bring the queen to d6 at least. Gosh. That was very close. Oh. Alright. Now queen d6. As he... Well, king h7 was possible as well. Maybe there, after queen d2, I could have also played king to h7, and then if knight f6, then king g6. Yeah, probably was not lost, but it was indeed very dangerous, I guess. It looked very dangerous, at least. Alright, now it feels more or less safe. Okay. Now I'm fine. Have an extra minor piece and there's pressure in the center. So, yeah. I can take here. I can take there. A bit greedy, but I think it works just fine. bishop d4 now. Yeah. Rook a8 was the only move, I believe. And then rook f8 with some counterplay. Also, it was not a checkmate, so I could have captured queen, I think. So on and so forth. But that's it right now. Okay, so let's have a look at the critical moment. I think instead of playing d4, and that is something I really underestimated in this attack. So I thought I'm completely fine here, having everything protected, being able to play knight g8. And once I said that, I realized that my knight on c6 is hanging and my knight on e7 hands is overloaded. So if white wanted to play queen d2, it was necessary to do right after I play king h8. So what's going on here? Queen h6 is a threat, and if my knight moves there, his bishop takes c6, right? So I think I'm forced to play something like king h7 now, which at very least can give you perpetually if I play king g7 and king h7. And if I want to play for a win, I have to move my king to g6 or something. And yeah, that is annoying. So there is a comment of bishop e3. I mentioned that move. Yes, it's possible to do something like that. But it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really change a lot. But maybe you're right. But anyway, so let's have a look here. So I have to give this check if I want to play for a win. Okay, in this particular case, there is knight to f5 with the temple. Yeah, correct. That's the solution. So bishop b3 first. That's right. This actually literally changes everything, because I take the rook, and now I have knight f5, right? So before that move was stupid because of bishop c6, because I didn't attack anything, but now, yeah, indeed. After this check, or first knight f5, doesn't matter. Knight goes to f5 with the temple. Yeah, and black is winning. Okay, good. So together, yeah, we found a good solution against queen d2. But then, what about queen to c1? That's how you find it over the board when you play a real game, right? That's how you calculate. So you have two candidate moves, queen d2 and queen c1, and then you try to understand the difference. And here is the difference. If you put the queen on c1, rook on a1 is protected, which means bishop e3 no longer works, because in that case, you just take with the pawn, right? And rook is protected. So queen to c1 hands was the right move in this position, forcing me to do something like king h7, knight f6, king g6. All right? So, that's the thing. Again, I'm not saying that white was perfectly fine in that line after queen to c1, but that was definitely the best option. Definitely. Because if we compare it to the game, where white played d4, it gave me this valuable temple, where after I just brought my queen to d6 to protect h6. Now I don't have to make this ugly moves, right? So, yeah, d4 is completely understandable. So you were fighting this bishop e3 idea. I understand, I get it, but I think queen to c1 was better. Okay, thanks for the game. It was very interesting and challenging. On M is the next. Accept the challenge. And again, let me just check if we're still live. Yeah, it feels like that. That's good. d4, knight f6. Okay, so here we have our typical close Catalan, right? That's what we play with Onam when Onam is playing with white pieces. A close Catalan. d5. And bishop to a6. Attacking c4. I expect c takes d5, so I'll just pre-move c d5. No, b3. Alright, in this case we can play knight to d7. And that is what we're playing with Onam regularly. So Onam is trying to play e4 after that. And I'm trying to prevent it and combine it with some play along the c file. And then knight f6. Queen d7. Just to connect the rooks and prepare rook to c7 and rook to c8. That's what I'm usually doing here. Andrey, most opening experts say that closed Catalan is extremely bad opening. Well, most opening experts are probably not 2600 guys, alright? And a lot of 26 and 2700 guys are playing closed Catalan and are doing just okay. Answering to prom nights. So I don't fucking care what opening experts say. I just play what I like. Alright, so e4 is almost there. I'm just trying to prevent it. So I play bishop to b7. Rook to c2. Now bishop to b4 looks fine. Rook c7 followed by another rook to c8 looks also fine. Let's just double rooks first. And then another rook to c8. There are so many strange comments about my beard. My beard is not Islamic, it's just long, okay? Has nothing to do with the religion or something. That's fantastic. Oh my god, people. What are you talking about? Okay, so b4 grabs some space for sure, but at the same time, this move weakens c4 square. So I'm tempted to try this maneuver now. Just knight to e8, knight to d6, and then knight to c4. And there was also knight e8 suggested in chess24 chat. Yeah, it's very natural, right? c4 is weakened, why not to bring the knight there? And right after my knight is on c4, I start exerting some annoying pressure, not only on the bishop on b to enhance the knight on c3, but also pawn on a3, which may become my target. And it's not so hard to accomplish. So for example here, I can play a5 at any moment, but taking into account white's pieces placement right now, I'm really tempted just to play bishop c6 with the idea of bishop to a4 first. So here is a comment here, bishop on b7 is bad. Well, it's no longer bad, okay? And moreover, it was compensated by that bishop on b2, so wasn't bad whatsoever. I mean, the position in general, because of that bishop. Alright, now let's just simplify the stuff and win the game. We have extra material and all the chances. Right, queen right to c2. Bishop on b2 is terrible. Now it's under serious pressure. So okay, so to be honest, it's hard to find a good move now because the bishop is under attack, and if bishop goes to a1, there is this check on the first rank, and at very least I just get that bishop. Most likely I just bring my rook to c1 and it's over. Alright, so everything happened rather quickly here, so position was like equal, 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 and then completely lost for white. And I think the main reason of that is because white played b4, and instead of playing b4, I suppose it was better for white to try to simplify everything here and to do something, you know, passive maybe to some extent, something like knight to d1 or maybe knight to b1, but to exchange this heavy pieces and, you know, then continue with a typical maneuver like e3, bishop f1, trying to slightly improve that bishop or something. But the punchline here is that white is not fighting for a win anymore, so black is just completely fine here. I think the whole line is just not promising white anything. I mean, it's much better for white to play something like, you know, if you play knight to c3, then instead of playing knight to e5, try knight to d2. It's almost the same, but the difference is that your knight is fighting for e4 square, and you prepare that. So if I play bishop a6 and you play b3, as you can see, I don't have knight to d7 to get rid of your knight here, so you keep more pieces on the board and has better chances to play e4 here. And yeah, that is what I think Etienne Bacro played against me in one of the games in the Bundesliga. Another good plan for white here is just to develop the pieces differently. So queen c2, d5, and knight d2. I believe this is the main line. Just playing e4 a bit later, just quickly playing e4. So that is what can be recommended for white. This knight e5 is also a possible move, but then, you know, this whole concept with basically taking on, well, first playing b3, depriving your queen of a4 square, and then taking on d5 is not good at all because it solves all black's problems at once and gives white absolutely nothing. That's just, you know, my opinion. Okay, let us continue. The next is Surgeon Stubby. Accept. Oh my god. d4, knight f6, and bishop to f4. All right. So probably we will have some version of London here. Let's see. Okay. With the knight on f3, I will play queen to b6. And then c4. Why it's important that white played knight to f3, because now there is no plan with f3 and e4, which means my bishop on f5 will feel really comfortable. Okay, so here I think we can play b4 right away. So a3 doesn't really stop me from playing that move. And yes, now I think we just put the bishop on f5. Then we can play b3, we can just take on c3. I prefer this move because it creates a weakness there on a3. And I think it's worth spending the move on this spending a tempo on this h6 because I really do want to keep my bishop on this diagonal. So I prepared everything for white's say knight h4, in which case I just play bishop to h7. g4. All right, bishop h7. Knight to e5. Okay. So we can already take on a3, I guess. But there will be a problem with, say, if we take with the rook, there will be a rook a3, bishop a3, rook a1, and there will be rook a8 check. I don't like it, obviously. So we can just take that pawn with some delay, I believe. Right, so let's just take on e5 first. That's a good question. So if we play knight to d7, which I would prefer in many cases to anything else in such a situation, then white will have some sort of e4 trick. So maybe it's better just to play knight to e4 to prevent it in this particular case. Alright, so now white saved the pawn for now. But it will be still a big problem for white till the end of the game. So let's just bring another rook to the queen side and start the attack. By the way, if white plays some like e4 here, and then I just take it with pleasure. Okay, let's just castle. And then rook a7, rook a8, straightforward. And most likely just very efficient. Now I can play bishop c2, by the way. And then grab a4. I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest. Now there is rook to d2, and then if I take on a4 with the bishop immediately, there is rook a2, forcing me to play b5, and then there is bishop d1 using that penal on the a file. But I can also try bishop c2, and if rook d2, rook takes a4. That should be fine. Okay, let's grab a pawn. Now rook a4. Attacking the rook on a1, I mean. So, eliminating this play with a pin on the a file. That was the primary idea behind it. Okay, now let's just take. Alright. Should probably start with this check. Or maybe taking that through is just fine. I'm not sure. Wanted to check if white falls into this trap, though. Yeah. Just great. In any case, I would have been a pawn up. And could have had great winning chances. Yeah, so in general, I think this ending is not the best thing for white to play. So if you play knight to f3, then queen b6 is correct according to theory. And after c4, the best move is queen to c2, where after black can play bishop f5, but then you play queen to c1, and then you play knight e2 and b3 quickly. So of course you combine it with some developments of bishop e2, castling knight e2 and b3, undermining c4. That's your plan. So you kind of force this c4, you provoke it, and then you use this pawn to get some edge in the center, because just imagine if I don't have enough time to support the pawn on c4 with my pawn b7 going to b5, then I'll be most likely forced to take on b3, in which case you capture with the pawn and then you play c4 and you have this edge in the center I mentioned before. That's the idea. I think you can find several games of Chomsky on the database in this line. He's one of the experts in London structures. And if you want to play it's a bit trickier, you can try knight to d2, because it's not the same if we compare it to knight f3. So if queen b6, queen to b3, c4. Well, first of all, you can still go with this queen to c2, but even this ending is no longer that clear, because whenever I play bishop f5, you can play f3 with a pawn. So let's say you play a3. By the way, that is a good way to prevent me from playing b4. And then if I try to, you know, get something similar to what I got during our game, then you play f3 instead of knight on f3. And then you play just g4 or e4 and grab some space. So people say that it looks like baby sound. Absolutely right. That's my baby crying on the background. My kid. So, yeah, sometimes that happens. No problems with that if you follow my streams. Let's continue. Dr. Nickerstein is the next one. Accept. 5-minute game. And I'm playing with black pieces. Prom Knight says animal sound. Alright. Let's assume it was a joke. Very funny. Knight to c3. Bishop to b4. I don't usually play this against English opening. I mean, e5 used to be my choice, but not anymore. But when I play Blitz games, I tend to try things like this. So that's an animal sound. Okay. Since I don't have a dark square bishop anymore on the board, I will try to compensate it with the right pawn placement. Having majority of my pawns in dark squares, trying to control the squares that could have been controlled by the bishop present on the board, but it's not. Okay, queen goes to b3. What's the point behind that move? Not sure. Let's just castle for now. So bishop f6 we take with the rook. b7 is protected. That's fine. And that goes to h4. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Maybe I should have played h6, to be honest. Because now I have a problem with my bishop. So where to put it, actually. Not so clear. Alright. Okay. Not sure about that. Maybe it will just provoke some moves that white anyway wanted to play. Maybe not. So let's see. That knight on h4 is not necessarily that great. That's why I wanted to try to provoke that f3 move. But let's see. The main problem now is that whenever I want to play something like h6, I should understand I weaken g6 like immediately and forever, and it may be not good at all. So what I want to do here is to try queen e8 to get rid of that pawn without playing h6. Maybe to bring the queen to h5 to attack that bishop. For example, like this. Is it an option? Well, it is. The question is it good? It's certainly not that bad. Because now I win some material, but the question is for a long time or just for a second, I don't know. f4 is my extra pawn. Can I keep it somehow? If my knight moves, there is bishop e7, so I suppose it will be hard for me to keep the extra pawn. Okay. But on the other hand, if I lose my f4, white simply has pair of bishops and better position, right? Maybe I should try, keeping it on the board. No, it doesn't work. I miss the fact that after queen g3 there is just bishop h4. Okay, yeah, my position is indeed not pleasant here, but yeah, I misplayed it, for sure. A bit earlier. Yeah, what is much better here? Much better. So knight takes d5 then. I mean, I understand it. It looks terrible for... It just looks terrible. No, knight d5 will not work whatsoever. I have to focus on developing my pieces as soon as possible, otherwise I will be just demolished. Maybe it will happen no matter what I do here, but, well, at least I have some pieces developed, right? Yeah, very strong opponent here. Very good game. For him, not for me. For me, it's just terrible. Terrible position. Okay. Let's clarify the things at least. I mean, I get it. It's just a bad position. Strategically, it's just lost. But we'll try to, survive it, but it will be extremely hard, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, hard to make a move. So rook d8, I think it's the only one. So the only idea that comes to my mind here is just to play something like d5 at some point, to have at least some activity, but... Yeah. Very bad position. Let's play d5. What else we can do here? Aha. Okay. Got it. Yeah. I mean, e7 comes, right? Ah, it's just so lost. Yeah, terrible game. Correct. Completely destroyed here. Nothing to say. Completely destroyed. So where did I play my worst move? I have a feeling that I just failed to complete a development here. Failed to get out of the opening. Yeah, I have a feeling that castling was actually not correct. Yeah, maybe it's strange, but it was not correct. Right after that, my bishop lost its great h7 b1 diagonal. Maybe I should have... Well, that was more or less fine. Maybe f5 is questionable. But then, okay. After queen to b3... Maybe here I should have just played something like knight to a6, immediately intended knight to b4, but it has nothing to do with this knight h4 threat. So probably I should have played this move and then just captured with the pawn. Right? So just g takes f6. It looks strange a bit, and I think I have my weaknesses here, but it looks way better than the position I had in the game anyway. Yeah, but probably I made some other mistakes as well. So, true, knight h4 is a very strong idea. I indeed underestimated it. So now I'm losing the perfect diagonal square, and again, maybe bishop g4 was already a serious inaccuracy, because if you play bishop c8 immediately, for example, if bishop goes there, you have e4 at least, right? And then you can just bring the queen to e5 and stuff. Yeah, probably bishop g4 was another mistake. Then after f3, bishop to d3. Again, I didn't consider e4. Maybe e4 was possible here, by the way. c4, fe4, and something like that. No, it doesn't work. Just knight f3 with the temple. It doesn't work whatsoever. So, okay, it just all took so much time here, right? I just completely forgot to develop my pieces. And I was just punished for it. That's it. Good game. Okay, the next one is Urin, 77, accept. Alright, so now we have one of interesting, quite popular lines in Aleutian defense. I do believe there are different ways to play it, so I will try something experimental again. I'm not sure that that's the best way to react to a black setup here. I just want to play something aggressive, or aggressively looking at least. Alright, knight to a6, what is it for? Preparing some sort of c5 at some point. Maybe some tricks based on knight to b4 jumps. That b4 can be only dangerous if I'm not developed. Right, so I will just make this move. Not that I'm going to castle short. I haven't decided yet, but anyway, this bishop looks good here. Maybe a bit later it will be good on somewhere on f3 or something. I don't know. Let's see. c5. Okay. That's interesting indeed. So what happens if I just go greedy and take it? So d takes c5, attacking the knight. And if queen d1, rook to d1, bishop takes c5, fe5, knight to d7. Well, anyway, it will give me... It will give me a pair of bishops, so... Aha, this way. Immediately knight to d7. Well, in that case, I think I can even keep the pawn alive if I want. I'm not sure at all. Let's just take the knight on d7 for now. If bishop takes on c3, of course it damages my pawn structure, but I don't care because I will have pair of bishops and pawn on b7 be weak, and I'll just put my bishop on f3 or something. Again, maybe I'm overestimating my position. In fact, if black is on time to get to c6, maybe it was all the bullshit. So probably taking on c3 was completely valid option for black. Not sure, because now I will just prevent it because I don't like it anymore. Okay, so c5 is under attack. But this move gives me a chance to bring my knight to d5 with the tempo. Although I will start with this move. And bring my queen to d4 with check. It's hard to believe these moves can be bad. Now the question is to castle or just to play knight to d5 right away. I mean, I'm not sure that knight to d5 gives me anything. So let's just castle with the tempo, attacking the bishop on d7. And there is an interesting question: what happens if knight takes on c5? And can I play b4 or something like that? Not sure. Okay, bishop is on e6. I guess this should be a good position for my bishop. Now black is gradually getting what they want. I mean, feels like I'm slightly misplaying this position. Maybe not even slightly. Can be that I'm doing something completely wrong here. You know, this move looks tempting to play, because the knight is only protected by the queen, trying to force the queen to sort of vulnerable / ugly position. I'm not sure if I'm getting what I want. Yeah, when the queen is on c8, it's definitely what I wanted to get. Now, I want to bring my rook to the e file. So now you may notice that e7 is no longer protected, which was not the case when the queen was on c7. And the bishop on e6 is under pressure, so now maybe, again, I have some threats like b4, maybe, to attack the knight and then to grab the bishop on e6. Okay. So the idea being to use d3 square, I believe. So if I play queen d8, rook d8, rook d8, I cannot play something like b4 and then take the bishop because there is knight d3 check. And this is rather annoying, to be honest. So what can I do? I can take everything on d8, then play rook to e3, but is it a good ending? I'm not sure. I think it's just bad. So maybe I should play knight d5 here in this position right away, which is definitely not what I wanted to get from this position. And there may be a problem with knight d5, even bishop d5 and e6. Yeah, it's definitely bad. Well, yes, I guess I have to do something like this then. Simply queen e3. Having some pressure on the e file still. Interesting game. Okay. Let's take this way. I have a feeling that there is absolutely nothing wrong with king to f7 move, for example. Just keeping everything under control. This is also fine. What black has just played, I guess. Let's just play king b1. Let's play some tricky moves. Okay. Right, one on time, but position was also lost for black, and I think the main reason why black got this lost position was just a time trouble. So black got nervous a bit and failed to keep this position, to hold it. I believe, yeah, it was not that great for white. For example, here, yeah, I was not even sure that something like queen to a5 is not a good idea or something. So, I mean, it looks terrible because of that, but there may be just a quick punishment, like queen takes e7, rook f7, queen takes e6, super greedy, no questions, but then something like this move, attacking c4. No, it should be fine for white having two minor pieces here, being able to take on c8, obviously. But I'm saying that, well, it didn't feel like a safe position for white. So, for example, maybe queen b6 was a bit more ambitious move than queen to c8, still having this rook d8 on the table. And I had a strange feeling that my pieces are just terribly misplaced here, because everything is vulnerable. And black's pieces are kind of attacking the right things on the queen side. My pieces are attacking nothing at the moment. So there is just a slight problem with that e7 pawn, if that even exists. I mean, not sure that losing that pawn will be such a big deal for black. Yeah, there are definitely some threats here on the queen side. So c4 is pretty vulnerable. c5 in general is also quite bad. Yeah, I mean, deserved attention. All right. Deserved attention for black, and I mean, I definitely misplayed everything here. And one more interesting idea, it's questionable, always questionable to give up a bishop, but in this particular case, I mean, normally when you see something like that, and let's imagine my bishop is on this diagonal and your bishop is somewhere on c8, I would say that, well, who cares about those pawns? But in this particular case, when your bishop is already here, and if I play something like that, you can play bishop to c6, neutralizing my light squared bishop. Well, who knows? Maybe this pawn structure is simply bad for white. Can be. That there was an interesting way for you to play, to avoid complications and to actually get the position, which is long-term, maybe just, you know, worse for white. I'm not sure. I mean, probably it's not that critical. All right, Chess Charlie's here. We'll accept that one. And the last game will be against Friedel, I think, the next challenger. So since we had some technical issues earlier today, I'm going to be here for a bit longer, because we definitely lost that time. Alright, playing with white pieces. I'm not sure if Chess Charlie doesn't respond on time, then probably we'll just keep on go to free del. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abort. Nope. Nope! We're playing. I was about to abort. Wow. Charlie is great. Right on time. Again, sort of experimenting, but let's do it. So I exchanged my bishop for the knight. The idea being to try to exploit some weaknesses here on the queen side, because pawn structure there is quite bad for black. It's kind of fixed, so it will be hard for black to do anything about it. That's why I played c4, just to make sure black is not playing c4 himself. Right, and now starting this typical attack against c5. Bishop a3, knight to a4. And then if queen protects it from a5, I can play queen d2, exchanging it. So these ideas are well known, not only for this kind of setup in Sicilian, but also from Nimzo and Queen's Indian defense, especially from Nimzo Indian, where black takes on c3, damages the pawn structure, and we have pretty much the same pawn structure but reversed. And there is the same method of attacking this. c4 in Nimzo Indian, here it is on c5. So queen is a defender, and I think queen d2 is a possibility. By the way, e-file is not that stable, so maybe at some point we'll have just a simple capture there. For now, I just want to get rid of the queen to make c5 mine, and then we'll see. Yeah, c5 drops now. I have a slight problem with the d3, so if knight jumps to e5 or f4, d3 is under attack. But I think we grab it with the tempo, right? Bishop c5, knight d3, bishop takes e7. Yeah, correct. So we can take it like this, and if bishop takes c5, then knight c5, protecting d3 and attacking the bishop. And if rook e8, we just take that bishop and then bring the knight to c5, protecting d3 just in time. And now we can get rid of that knight completely, so that d3 is no longer a problem. And yeah, we just have extra pawn. If we want, we can get even more by taking on d5 next move if black takes with the bishop. Okay, black decided to take with the rook. So dark squares are still quite bad in black's camp. So it should be absolutely winning position for white. Right. The next is just a question of technique. That shouldn't be that complicated. Let's take on d5. Simplify the stuff. Now, let's just play c5. I like this pawn structure. Fixing the pawn on c6. So I want to play knight to d4 to attack it. Probably it makes sense for me then to play something like rook to d1. Yeah, why not? We have time, right? Yeah, so now knight goes to d4. This is very pleasant place. Okay. a4 will win more, right? Let's go greedy. Doesn't really matter in this particular case. I could have just captured the bishop and then won the rook ending, but a4 is probably even easier because bishop is forced away, and then knight takes on c6, just literally collecting everything here. Okay, Friedel, accept the challenge. And what? Friedel is playing a looking defense. We have played just dozens of Sicilians. Now Fridell is even playing knight to d7, provoking me. Alright, let's do it then. Let's do it. There is no immediate checkmate, obviously. And I don't even know the theory here. But I think we should definitely try c4. Alright. God damn it. The thing is, if you don't checkmate black, you're just a minor piece down, right? So Bent Larsen played it once. Maybe not once, I'm not sure. It's definitely not so clear. It's absolutely unclear, I would say. Bishop f4, just e5. D takes e6, king takes e6. No, it's not what we want. Maybe it's already not correct what I'm playing here. I never really investigated this line. Shit. Okay. Let's just go wait. Maybe f3 was a better square just to have that check on a3. I don't know. So at very least, black will have to spend some time to, you know, find a safe place for a king. And yeah, I can use it to get some compensation. Right, let's take it. I think we should keep position open, right? So if we play bishop f4, king goes to e7. So I mean, should we include this check, or it's better for us just to play knight c3 immediately? Then bishop takes e6. Bishop to g5 can be played. I think it's more interesting for us just, you know, not to force king moving anywhere, because on d6 it's pretty dangerous. Now, so black is just a minor piece up. I have only one pawn. It's not a compensation whatsoever. What we can do though, so bishop to g5 looks interesting to me. Just b4 right away looks interesting to me. To make that bishop quite vulnerable. Knight to b5. Yeah, there are so many interesting moves here. I don't know. Let's play bishop g5. Pinning this knight. Preparing castling lawn, something like this. If my attack fails, I'm lost, obviously. Queen e8. Right. So I have a feeling that I have to make this check. Just to prevent the exchange of queens, at very least. And now, oh, it feels so dangerous for black. Like, what about playing b4 here? Looks very natural. Continuing with the attack. I don't think black is going to keep that knight on the board. But, well, at least we will regain the material then. Aha, that was planned. But is it good? So if I take on f6, queen takes e2, bishop e2, g takes f6, bishop f3, check. That's going to be quite dangerous anyway. So do we have something better than exchanging queens then? Like queen e3 maybe. Just keeping the queen on the board. yeah, I mean, it's worth trying. Maybe I'm just blundering something, but I want a queen on the board, right? Although bishop takes f6 was already not so bad. Forcing queen e2, bishop e2, then, if necessary, regaining a piece. I have no idea. Now, what's going on? That's what I wanted to do. That's a mistake. Bishop g4 was possible. Not sure why black didn't play that. This is check, right? Gosh, a lot is happening here, but lots of checks also. And I guess this is it, right? I guess this is it. That was funny. It's hard to comment it, I believe. There were lots of options for both sides how to improve. So Dutch defender says brilliant sac. It's well-known sacrifice, so it's not my invention at all. So that's why if you want to avoid it, you usually play c6. But it was intentional, I think. So Friedel wanted to provoke me to sacrifice a knight like that. Once it was played by Bent Larsen, I think, and Larsen even won that game. And I have a feeling that at some point White should play something like g3, but I couldn't remember actually at which point it usually happens. Because if you played something like g3 right now, well, it's not right, simply. Maybe knight to c3 is the right move. I have no idea. I have no idea because I've never ever learned this one. It's one of the lines that you usually, want to avoid learning because, well, it may never happen in your entire career, but, well, it happened here. Yeah. I mean, thanks for this experience for sure. Sorry for having some technical issues. Well, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. This time it happened, so this affected the whole stream. But I still believe that you learned something new just watching my games. If you did, I'm happy. Wish you all the best and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.